Hare Krishna. This is the classes I like, where I have an audience here, and I'm also talking online. Just 1 second here. Okay. I'm going to skip about 20 verses because you'll see, I'll explain why I'm skipping about 20 verses. But beginning from Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, Canto 2, Chapter 2, Text 193. Tat-sukhaṁ vardhate bhīkṣṇam anantaṁ paramaṁ mahat natu brahma-sukhaṁ muktau vardhate sīmavad yataḥ. That happiness increases endlessly. It is limitless and supremely great. In contrast, the happiness of Brahman found in liberation never increases because it's limited. If it increases, it's not Brahman. Because Brahman is Advaita, it's non-dual, it can't change. But bhakti is parasya shaktar vividaya suyate. It has potencies. Okay, purport. The Bhakti Shastras here explicitly confirm that the happiness of bhakti increases constantly, and to dispel any misconception that this increase may eventually come to an end, they further qualify it as ananta, endless. At every moment, pure devotees experience bhakti rasa as newer and newer, sweeter and sweeter, and more intense. Because Brahman cannot develop or transform in any way, the happiness realizing Brahman is static. When a person is called their brahma-sukhaṁ, the parakashta of happiness, they mean it has virtually reached a peak beyond which there is no further progress. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Taksur Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vancha Kalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So greetings from Govardhan. I'm actually facing Govardhan Hill. And my ashram was very nice today. Raghunath came with 30 people. And we fed him first class prasadam. There's a Vaishnav caterer. He's a brahmachari. He's so expert, not just in cooking, but in management. I mean, he's so talented. You get these big tiffins, and they're skilled with tape, so nothing spills over. So he made khichdi, yogurt, this exotic pakora, I'm not sure what it was, and papadam, and exotic chocolate sweets I got imported from Russia. I got candies there. So it was so nice, and we love to serve. And Braja Devi and Hemalata Radha here, so they helped me. Raghunath also served. It's nice. And then today, it's such an amazing thing. I get a message from someone So this is Baladev from Dallas and Lori. I have no idea who they are. No idea who they are. So embarrassingly, I have to say, well, who is this? And then he described who he was. He was a brahmachari with me. He said I was his best friend there. He was a brahmachari with me in Dallas from 74 to 76. He was a brahmachari in Dallas. And then one day he left. It's when the fifth canto came out, and Prabhupada said we didn't go to the moon. But then in 1982, he showed up in Vrindavan with his wife, and I haven't seen him since. He sent me a picture of what he took of me in 1982, so he's going to come see me tomorrow. Haven't seen him in 45 years. On his way out, very humble guy. He was a professional nurse, a male nurse for like 32 years, and he just retired. So I'm eager to speak to him. He's eager to see me. Now, what I'm doing today is, going over the Bhakti Shastra, going over the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, and I'm way ahead because I study with Niranjan Swami every day. And there's a section now of about 25 verses with long page purports, technical subject, and I figure once a week I'm meeting, it'd be very difficult for me to go into all these things. But I'll give you the essence of what happened. We know we're following Gop Kumar's journey, and he's the path that we have to take for our goal, our objective, which is prema bhakti in Vrindavan. That's our goal. And he shows us, and there's so many themes that come up. One is the transcendental system, because Krishna somehow is focused on every soul and sending various people to them in various circumstances to them. It's so amazing that for each person, the world is actually moving around them perfectly. It's the proof of God, because it's all coordinated with other people's experiences. And it's perfect. And if you look back, it's perfect to bring you back to God. So in his journey, somehow or other, and this happens often, that a lot of times if we go through something and we don't respond to it properly and learn the lesson, it just comes up again and again and again until we figure out what Krishna wants. Krishna has to speak very, very loudly for us to hear the messages that we need to understand, that's for sure. So somehow Gop Kumar keeps on getting positions. And three things happen. One, he's not attached to the position. He's attached to the service, not the position. And if a position is your service, then you accept the position. You're attached to the service. So he's very simple, he's very devoted, and he never becomes affected. And it's very, very admirable, the simplicity. He doesn't need to surround himself with so many accoutrements of power. Doesn't need to move the world around himself for his own desires. Of course, our philosophy is you take what you need to keep the body and soul together. I always remember the story when I visited Narayan Maharaj and I wanted to ask him a question. And we had nothing in Vrindavan, but someone gave me a Rolex watch. So I was wearing the Rolex watch, and I asked Narayan Maharaj, what is Yukta Vairagya? He said, you need to tell time, so watch 100 rupees. And my hand went kind of like behind my back. Yukta Vairagya. And then the next thing that happened, even though he wasn't disturbed, he wasn't attached to the position, he was disturbed by the position. I always tell that story. Tamal Krishna Maharaj told Prabhupada, you should be the king of the world. He said, you manage, I'll advise. Management, everything you do is a service to Krishna, but it definitely can be distracting. Taking a position, the Abhiman, Purusha Bhav, controller, tough. And then there's still fear, even though everything is great on Brahmaloka and he was attracted to Brahmaloka, there was still fear of death. That's the duality of the world. That the more you become attached to something, the more you are going to lose it. You know, you get things, you're going to lose it. So there's the duality of the fear I may lose something, the attachment, and the pain when you do. And the fear of death, one sadhu told me, is not the physical pain. It's the losing of your attachments, including your very self-conception, your upadi, your designation of who you are right now. It's gone. America, we're 100 million strong, and we believe in you. We used to sing that in school. I still remember it, right? We used to sing songs. Yeah, these are songs.
But are these patriotic? Were these patriotic?
Yeah, patriotic, right? Right. So all that, all the attachments, everything. So that fear, that pain, that fear of losing that, and the pain of losing that, unless you identify with the soul and the activities of the soul, because they don't end with the body. I explained this many times. When you're chanting Hare Krishna, the activity you're doing and the conception of the person who's doing it doesn't end with the body. Material activities do. So it's fear. And because of that anxiety that's there, even at Brahmaloka, a Brahma Bhuvana Loka, Puna Avartanoja, from the highest to the lowest, even the it's so, the descriptions of Brahmaloka is practically perfect. But because there's still that duality of temporality, when he heard of moksha, liberation, the people on Satyaloka were talking about liberation, he became attracted, but he never heard of liberation and moksha before. But he became attracted to it. And then, because he was Lord Brahma, he started to ask about it, and then there was some kind of debate between different scriptures about this liberation. There's two concepts of liberation. One is liberation means jnana, philosophical analysis to distinguish matter from spirit, and then militant rejection of matter. Neti, not this, not this, not this. And we described in the previous class how literally that's impossible to achieve that kind of yoga, yoga vritti chitta, what is it? Yoga vritti chitta nirodha. Yoga is getting rid of all thoughts, all conceptions, militantly. And the 7 layers of samadhi, and I just explained, even the first layer is an hour and a half without any conception, without any thought. We can't do that for like 1 minute. And then it goes on and on and on. And 7 levels that you can't even understand what they're talking about because you have to experience it. And it cannot happen without grace, because no conditioned soul can have that ability to perfect themselves by jnana. And grace means the power you get to achieve something beyond your own capacity. And that's why the path of bhakti, the different script, the agamas, the puranas, they're arguing for bhakti. The Bhagavatam gets in there. And then the decision is that bhakti, yes, bhakti is better than jnana in terms of liberation. Vasudeve, Bhagavati, Bhakti Yoga, Piyojita, Janayat Yasu, Vairagya, Janajyata Hoitakam. It comes automatically because you have this positive experience. It helps you to become absorbed. The efficacy of any yogic process is the facility it gives you to remain absorbed in the object of your meditation and neglect everything else. An emotional connection to an object is the highest absorption. And bhakti, Twisman, is the highest form of love. Love is the most consummate emotion. And then the factor that the object of your meditation is not just a prop, but it can reciprocate with you to allow you to achieve its objective. So yoginam api sarvesham madgatena taratmanam shradhavam bhajate yomam sameyukta. Of all yogis, one who worships with faith, and he's the best of all. So finally, the Bhakti Shastras win the argument, and then they begin, and that's where we are now, and they're explaining that not only is it more an efficacious process, but you can't compare even the happiness of realization of Brahman and realization of Bhagavan. And because there's really no ananda, there's just chit, there's just sat, existence. There's no ananda. It's blissful, But it gave arguments, it has a tinge of bliss of just the relief from pain. I remember my brother when COVID came, and he's like, he's not that healthy. So he was, he's a very nice man, but he doesn't have a very belief in God. So he was terrified of COVID, And when the shot came, right, I think he paid his obeisances to the doctor once he got the shot, or something like that. Or he said he felt like it, or he had a cancer test, and it wasn't cancer. I don't want to tell you, it's funny what he said because it's a little gross, but because of what kind of cancer it was. But anyway, it wasn't cancer. And the relief he felt, there is a pleasure like that when we have so much trouble, so many difficulties. But it's not the same as that connection, that energy. Prema is the energy between two beings in relationship. Rasa Vaisa, we have that energetic connection with God. And it's really, and, we're going to come up later, the next people that kind of are going to grab Gop Kumar ultimately from Brahmaloka. He's going to go back to Mathura, of the Vaikuntha-vasis, and they begin talking about Nam Kirtan in such an inspiring way. I was studying it today with Niranjan Swami. Such an inspiring way, what Nam Kirtan is. and having that faith, and therefore absorbing ourselves in it. It was really amazing. So now we're going to they're continuing, because it was like 60 verses about that. So it says, that happiness increases endlessly, it's limitless and supremely great. In contrast, the happiness of Brahman, found in liberation, never increases because it is limited. I was thinking of writing a Monday morning greetings on just like little interesting contradictory thoughts I thought. Like, for example, it's just like this. Can we increase God's happiness by our bhakti? Interesting? Can we increase? And the answer is yes.
But is it us that we can increase?
What?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was wondering, is it us that can increase, or is it because of...
Well, I mean, we are receptacles. In other words, I always make the point that what are we, right? God's pleasure is love. Love comes from another. So within God, but simultaneously outside of God, is the soul. And they're receptacles for love. But bhakti is inherent in the soul. But it absolutely requires something external to generate it. It's dormant in the soul. It's just like, let's say if you go to South America and there's water, is there ice in the water? If the right conditions are there, it'll be there. Or there's wood. Is there fire in the wood? But there has to be something external. There's also this thing called Swati Nakshastra. There's a special astrological combination. And when it rains on that day, and this is a fact, and when water falls on different things, it produces different things, jewels and different things. So the potential is, it requires something external. Actually, there's this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Vaishnava. I see Bhakti Devi is listening. She knows Sundar Gopal, and we're really close. And in fact, he wants to come to the next Puri Yatra, not in 2006, but 2027. And if I decide to have it, we'll have him as one of the presenters. And he's as beautiful person, as sattvic person, as non-sectarian person. And what happened is he took initiation from Srila Narayana Maharaj, and Narayana Maharaj told him, because he saw he was so smart, I want you to defend the legacy of Bhaktivinoda Thakur like a lawyer. So he went and got a law degree, and he got a PhD from Oxford. And his thesis is on Bhaktivinoda Thakur and the self. And it's not out yet, but he let me see confidentially some of it. We had discussions. It's brilliant. And what he found out, and it's consistent with Prabhupada and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that bhakti is inherent. But it requires something external to bring it out. So both things are presented. It's bestowed and it's inherent. And what people that create polemics about it, they create this false dichotomy that it has to be one or the other, but it's actually both. And what he's done, it's so brilliant. What he's done is he's showed that our line of there's 6 schools of Indian thought, and he showed how we're Vedantists and how all our acharyas take their information from Vedanta. And he shows that there's absolutely no polemic about this subject at all. There's no polemic about it. It's just, but sometimes they say bestowed, sometimes they say inherit, but they know that it's both within that tradition. And this was just, and that actually the polemic came in 1930. That was the first time it came, where there was some scholars that were presenting one side of it and actually attacking Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. But before that, there's no polemic. And it's very, very edifying, because this is what Prabhupada taught us. And, and it, as a big, people were discussing it, and even I know some young devotees and becoming confused about it and saying this is it. And, they're quoting Jiva Goswami. He goes into everything. He shows in every instance, like there's one conception called Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, and Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta means something that doesn't exist comes into existence, right? And the people who say that it's bestowed, they say that Jiva Goswami or something uses this term, but he shows, but reference in so many ways, what that means is it doesn't awaken. It's not existent in that sense, that it's not awakened. Just like there's not ice in the tropics. It doesn't exist before, but it could exist. But it doesn't mean that it wasn't potentially there. He's such a good writer. His two books, The Dharma Code and Gita and The Dark Night of the Soul, are the best English books written for clarity and force about our basic concepts of philosophy, that not, in that thing, in Dharma, it's brilliant. So the same writing, but such clarity. So I was so happy to hear that, because, it's an attack on Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta, Sridhar, and because Bhaktivinoda Thakur says two things, it's bestowed and it's inherent. So they reconcile it with saying that when they say it's inherent, it's like a preaching strategy, which is a ridiculous concept, like the whole Guru Parampara is lying to us because we, something. He says the reconciliation is that it's both. It's inherent, but it will not manifest unless something is inherited, which comes from the Vaishnavas. It's such a beautiful thing, because he's such a good scholar. He analyzed it from his history and really traced out where this polemic came, and that it didn't exist previously. And it didn't exist because it was very clear to everyone. There was no polemic. There was no argument about it. And they could say one or the other. Even Prabhupada had this verse where Prabhupada appears to say that it was bestowed, and they may present, but it is, but it's also inherent. So anyway, this concept, but I'm just saying, in terms of what's presented here, can we increase Krishna's love? Yes. It's such an interesting concept. Krishna is not God if he's not have love to the extreme limit, but he's also not God if it can't increase. If it can't increase, he's not God either. So it's I forgot this philosophy. It's mentioned by Baladev or something about contradictions, on that reality. I mean, even the fact that in the ultimate reality there's no time. So how does it relate to here? Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, when they talk about when the living entity falling into this world, he said, you can't ask the question when, because there's no when there. Because time does not, time cannot be, Krishna cannot be subjected to time, because then there's something above him. So there's no when there. So he says you can't understand it by the dirt of words. So it's what is logical and what is reasonable. What is logical and what is reasonable is that it's inconceivable. And I said there's two mutually exclusive choices of reality. One is that there was nothing and then there was something, and one is that it was eternally existing. Each one is inconceivable. Can we conceive of something that goes back and has no end? Or can we conceive of something that there was nothing and it began? But it must be one of them. So it's reasonable that the ultimate reality is just inconceivable. And I think one thing I've learned in Krishna consciousness after so many years is to rest my brain. Because there's just so many things. ISKCON, Hare Krishna, there's so many things that you just can't comprehend. But the fact that the concept I don't understand is a reasonable concept. That I don't understand everything.
No, stay there.
Someone agree with me there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, we'll go on to the next verse. Paramatma parabrahma saeva parameshvara ityevam eshamakena sajatya bidahata. The Supreme Lord is also the Supreme Soul and the Supreme Brahman. That these three are one leaves no chance of sajatya difference in the Supreme. Yes, Paramatma, Parabrahma, Parameshvara. The Supreme Soul, Supreme Brahman, the Supreme Lord. Vedanta tat tattvavidat tattva yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. Vedanta tat tattvavidas, tattvavidas, those who know the reality, what do they say? Vedanta tattva yajnanam advayam, jnanam advayam, consciousness which is non-dual, which means there's nothing outside of the consciousness of God. Therefore, I also make a ridiculous statement. Without us, then Krishna is not God, because Krishna must be everything. Advayam Gyan is consciousness which is non-dual. Everything is part of God's consciousness. And the perception of that one thing, there's not a Parabrahman, Paramatma, Param Ishvara, there's not three things. There's one thing that is seen in three different ways according to your perspective. And the classic example is the mountain. The mountain is in the distance. It looks like homogeneous, one thing. You go closer, you see it has trees. Like when I once went to the Himalayas, I may never go again. I don't like going on those highways without railings. When you look hundreds of feet beyond, and the driver doesn't have a wheel like this, he has a wheel like this. And he's going, you know, they drive around. I say, okay, I'll do this once. Maybe the roads are better now. But the mountains, they were beautiful. I mean, we went in the summer, flower fields, and then villages and people. So you get close, you can see there's some distinction. And then when you were there, there's actually people. So it's one thing seen in three different ways. So that's what's being said here. There's no chance of sajatiya bhed. Bhed means difference of the same thing. There's no chance of difference of the same thing. It's one thing. Purport. The Vedas are accepted as perfect authority by both impersonalists and by devotees of the Supreme Lord. But when the Vedic Upanishads declare that there is no duality in the Supreme, the personalists and impersonalists understand it in opposite ways. For Dvaitavadi impersonalists, the oneness of Brahman means that all form and variety are illusion. For the Vaishnavas, however, the Supreme, although one, is full of variety. How this can be so? The Vedas now begin to explain to Gopkumar, starting with 2 verses, discussing the absence of difference in the Supreme. Difference can be analyzed as being of 2 kinds, sajatiya and vijatiya. Similar things like 2 men will differ as individuals. That's called sajatiya bhed. The same categories, but variety. And the dissimilar things like a man and a cow, that's vijatiya bhed, the difference between members of separate categories. So here it's saying this is sajatiya bhed. It's difference of things in the same category. Now, because the jiva is a manifestation of Brahman, and because in earlier verses we heard that the jivas are always distinct as individuals, someone may object that we here find ourselves facing Brahman in which there are sajatiya differences. That is, Brahman now seems to consist of members of one category who differ from one of another category. But this makes no sense because it would contradict the very nature of Brahman, which by definition of the authoritative Upanishads is ekam, absolutely one, and advayam, allowing of no differences whatsoever. Point taken. But how is expressed by the formula ekam advayam, the Supreme is full of dualities, sajatiya and vijatiya, is shown in different way in this verse and the next. Despite our being surrounded by a world full of apparent variety, the impersonalists construe ekam advayam in its most strictly literal sense, saying that there are absolutely no dualities at all. But what the Vedas actually mean by these words fit more sensibly with our common experience. Our common experience is that there is distinction. I'm having kind of I don't know if you call it a debate, but it was someone who wrote me that kind of was coming to Krishna consciousness and then became like an impersonalist. And he was quite intellectual, and he wrote me. And he was philosophical. He really knew the teachings of Shankara, etc. And it absolutely makes no sense. Here, I'll read you my argument to him. How does that sound? Let me read you my argument to him. You see, this is my argument to him. He wrote me this. Contrary to what you wrote, excuse me for saying this, according to Shankar, Ishvara exists and rules all and gives grace and leads one towards moksha at last. It's just that Ishvara, like you and like me, does not possess self-existing and eternal form, but rather is ultimately Brahman. Yet food nourishes and water moistens, and Ishvara, who is Kaivalya, Navanita says is the reflection of Brahman and Maya guides. Perhaps Brahman is just the radiance of Ishvara, and there's no self-existing anthropomorphic deity at the heart of the universe. It could be, and I trust those who wish to know will eventually be graced by Ishvara with knowing. I know what Shankara says, I just can't reconcile the different things he or you are saying with this concept of absolute non-duality. If there is Brahman and Maya, how is the ultimate reality non-dual? Right? Okay, I confirm. If Ishvara does not possess a self-existing and eternal form, how can there be an anthropomorphic deity at the heart of the universe that can bless us? My understanding is that you profess that everything, all distinctions, are illusion. This is what I believe based on my tradition. Every illusion must have a substratum. Someone must be an illusion. Advaita says Brahman alone exists, so the substratum illusion must be Brahman. But if Brahman is the substratum of illusion, doesn't illusion affect or taint Brahman? And if Shankar in some way accepts that there is illusion besides Brahman, how can there be non-duality? It's just a bunch of word jugglery. Because he's a little kind of sentimental too. He wants everything to be one and all, you know. We believe, he says personal, they believe in personal and impersonal. You can't believe in personal and impersonal. You can, but it has to be personal, because then there's distinctions. If there's impersonal, we believe in impersonal and personal, which means it's personal and has an impersonal aspect. Anyway, I guess I'm pretty fired up today, huh? What can I say? Different days or different moods here. But we had kind of a little bit passionate day. There's 30 people coming and feeding them prasadam, and it was wonderful though. And then we had a little kirtan and a little class. And then someone, yeah, it was great. It was really wonderful. And then, 1 second, let me get back to where we are. Okay. Okay, let's see if we can follow. It's right. You see, this is why I wouldn't want to do 20 verses like this. How Brahman is ekam, that is free from sajatiya differences, is best understood in the following way. The impersonal absolute, Brahman, the indwelling controller of the jiva's paramaṁ, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Parameshwara, are one absolute truth. There is no difference between the three. They're just different perspectives. When the Supreme Absolute, as the personality of Godhead, further expands into countless forms, these avatars may seem different from one another, but in reality, they are one and the same person. In all his plenary manifestations, he never becomes less than his full self in spite of external appearances. Thus, any attempt to analyze the plenary expansions of Godhead as different members of one category is doomed to fail. Brahman does, however, have expansions of his energy in the form of the finite living entities as discussed in the next verse. Whew, a little deep, but the basic thing is there that Sada Vajajyam aptanam jivanam apitattvata amsatvenap yani bitvad vijatiya bidamita. So there's difference of the same category, men. Then there's difference of different categories, a man and a cow. So what he's saying is there are differences of the same category, so it's non-dual. There's differences, in other words, variety, expansions of this one thing, which is Brahman, Parameshvara, the supreme Brahman. And it's our common experience. You have to be in cognitive dissonance to think that all this is illusion, that there's no distinctions. The jivas always have their own identities, different from that of the Supreme, but they are part of the Supreme and cannot exist separate from him. And this rules out the difference called vijatiya. So in terms of us and God, we're different of the same category of God. So this is the Vaishnava philosophy. Because this person is saying, you don't believe in Advaita, you don't believe in non-dualism. No, we do. But it's called vijatiya Ved. Asajatiya Ved, difference of the same category. Okay. This verse establishes the actual way the Brahman is Advayam, free from all dualities. The jiva, it is true, belongs to categories other than Brahman, such as the category of things that have finite size. In that sense, they are different from Brahman. But in other respects, they are non-different from him. They are expansions of the same creative living force of which Brahman's own supreme personality exists, and there is integral parts naturally sharing many of his qualities. Thus, although they are individuals and eternally remain so, they are not eternally separate from the absolute Brahman, the supreme person. So it's Advayam Gyan. We fully approve of this philosophical doctrine called beta. Indeed, when it is presented with logical argument, everything about it is certain and irrefutable. Well, one of those long purports. I'll just read. We scriptures are always accepted as authoritative. Our words and the words and behavior of great souls are standard evidence in all circumstance. And many historical accounts support these statements we have made. To presume, therefore, that our words are merely overstated praise is certainly unreasonable. If a theory maker acts with such presumption, nonetheless, it will fill him with atheistic delusions and cast him into hells, one after another, from which he will not be able to escape. A little hell, brimstone, and fire. That freaked out my friend. Because Prabhupada sometimes, I also wrote him. We'll have fun. We'll look at the letter for a second. I also wrote him. I also wrote my friend, because he was upset about Prabhupada criticizing all these great impersonalists. So I wrote him that unless there are people, I wrote this in my book on my article on criticism, unless there are people who can point out and correct the fault of others, individual and societal development will be stunted. His style was more combative than mine, and especially yours. But when one sits on the vyasa-puja, he has to protect the faith of the people who he's giving what he considers is the absolute and most beneficial conception of reality. And that's our faith. And therefore, the doctrines in opposition that can dampen people's faith have to be confronted. And the acharya is supposed to be one who sits there and does that. yeah, and then I told him, yeah, Prabhupada didn't appreciate the Ramakrishna mission because it was not vegetarian, even their monks. And that ahimsa is the basis, the basic principle of all yogic traditions is ahimsa. So why should we be sad? He was sad if Prabhupada opposed a philosophy that is strongly opposed to what he is teaching. Hindu monks, it's a tough one. Um, okay, I'll show you what he wrote me. He's a good writer. He wrote me. Uh, he said, I disagree with your assessment of Prabhupada's statements. I believe what you said about the positions of Shankaracharya and Ramakrishna is inaccurate and misrepresents both of them. I believe your presentation of Advaita Vedanta is again inaccurate, as well as excessively unsympathetic, and I don't think it is fair to characterize the Gaudiya tradition as Advaita. I think the lovely Srimad Bhagavatam quote you brought jives at Ramakrishna's perception, but certainly not the bulk of Prabhupada's statements on the matter. And yeah, so I said, it's clear what your point is. I disagree with everything you stated. Because I told him, he said, should we argue? I said, no, let's not argue. Let's just try to get clarification what we all believe. Okay, let me just go there. 1 second. I see there's a new person there. And I'm curious. Your name is Sadat? What's your name?
Yes, my name is Sadat. I was at Mukunda Murari Prabhu's parikram, and you allowed me to join. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, wow. And where are you from?
I'm from Kyrgyzstan, is in Central Asia.
Okay, now I remember very, very well, right?
Mm.
Because I asked you, because the whole class was translated into Russian. So I asked you, you asked me if I give classes. I said, but yeah, I give Russian on one day, but then Mukund said you speak English quite fluently. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming to the class and welcome to join our Sanga. That's very nice. You're back in Kyrgyzstan now, or you're still in India?
I'm still in Vrindavan, and tomorrow I'm gonna go to Govardhan, and then I'm gonna go to Mayapur.
You're just visiting for the day in Govardhan? Or are you
I'm
stay?
gonna be at Govardhan till 16th of November.
16th of November. Okay. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Okay. Jamuna Jaya, would you like to say hello? I guess she had to go to her yoga class. Okay, Gail, I'm shaking. I'm terrified. There was so much philosophy here. You must have 1,000 questions. Gail, are you there?
Yeah. Just thank you, Maharaj. Just a couple of things. One thing I just want to confirm that,
Yeah.
as we said, that the jivas, right, are different aspects of the same category. No, that's one.
Yes. Yes.
And also the paramaṁ and
Yeah.
Brahman, right?
Yeah.
Would
Yeah.
we say that those two are also different aspects of the same category?
Yes, everything's Advayam Gyan. It's all consciousness of the Supreme, and everything's a manifestation of the Supreme. And Krishna's God is the full manifestation, so it's Sajatiya Bade, difference of things of the same category. And then
Right.
there's vigilance. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And you see, when it comes to the paramaṁ, you know,
Yes.
who he has form and Bhagavan has form,
Right.
but the way he manifests as paramaṁ is one paramaṁ in the heart and in every heart and every atom, right? So although his form looks different from that of Bhagavan,
Yeah.
it's still just the same person, just manifest in a different way.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that's why we say he's Sajatiya Bade kind of thing.
Well, that was made there, that the different manifestations, it's the same God, manifesting. But he manifests in infinite ways and he manifests in finite ways.
Yeah.
So we're the finite.
Oh, that we're the finite. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, also,
Man, I so much wanted to be the infinite my whole life. I'm so frustrated. Why can't I be the infinite? Would it
Maharaj,
be great to be the controllers, Gail?
yes, it would be really good. Not maybe for other people, because they wouldn't appreciate the way I would control them, but
Your daughters would love it, Gail.
yeah. Maharaj, when love comes from, we call it love when that comes from, I guess that energy comes from outside of God, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when it's not coming from outside of God, when it's what he has within himself.
It's called Sarupanand and Bhaktianand. So there's two Anands of God.
Uh-huh.
Sarupanand, I describe that Sarupanand is like when I lived upstate New York and outside my house there were two trees with a hammock. So I got in the hammock and I would swing in the hammock. That was Sarupanand.
Rupanand, yes.
Right, so that I didn't need anybody. But then there's Bhaktianand, where you need another, where the pleasure has to come to you. And that's more blissful.
Yeah.
And that's our job. Our job is to give God that pleasure. And therefore it has to be activated within us. We're kind of created as these. It's very interesting because I can't wait till the book comes out and share it with you. There's going to be four or five different authors. One will be Sundar Gopal. Another will be this Vrindaranya, and she's probably as smart as anyone I know. She's an absolute genius.
Wow.
Oh my God, she's so smart. It's off the charts and scholarly.
Wow.
And he said her article is going to be something on the anantaṁ. And then there is,
Where is she from, Rinda?
she's a disciple of Tripurari Swami. She lives in the West Coast. And then she's really off the charts smart. I know her well. And then there's this Gopinathacharya. Gopinathacharya, I think he may be a disciple of Indradumna Swami or Kadamba Kanana. And he's a Sanskrit professor. He's a brahmachari, and he's a Sanskrit professor in
my video so they
Oxford.
pay more attention.
What's that?
Sorry,
Oh,
Mark.
okay. In Oxford, he's and he his PhD was on Kavi Kanapur, so he knows Alankara poetry. So he's real brilliant. And then one article, Gail, is by Gerald Surya. How do you like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Tripurari Swami. So I'm looking forward to it. But it's so brilliant. I spoke to him how it's done and how he analyzed all this. It's like a lawyer. There's no room for any other conclusion. He's just did such a wonderful job. I really amazing. Okay.
Maharaj,
Haribo.
wait, can I just confirm one last thing real quick? It's
Yeah.
very quick.
Okay.
So when you bring up the inconceivability of God, right? And you said that either it can only be one of two choices, but
Right.
either one of those choices, if you say that, you know, the world came from nothing or it was just always here, either if the world came by either of those means, you know, if God chose to do it in either one of those ways, that would make God inconceivable.
But they can't, if God did it, if something came out of nothing, it came out of God. So I'm just saying, it's just inconceivable that the world starts at some times and it comes out of nothing, which is the modern scientific theory. But it's also inconceivable if you think
No, but that scientific theory, what is that? What's the connection you're making to God there?
Because I don't believe in God.
They
believe something came from nothing.
Oh, so you're saying that even what they believe would be inconceivable anyway.
Yeah. Okay, 1 second. Okay, Gail. Hey, Yudhisthira, nice to see you. Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is by proxy. Adriana's asking it.
Yeah, okay.
If you are, okay, so the Bible conditions people the way it's been translated to justify eating meat because they think God prepared it for them, right? So is there different karma when people are doing it based out of condition and ignorance versus people have knowledge, obviously? Can you explain a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel that.
May I just, Maharaj, I'll just say something for 20 seconds. I was in Rome. They asked me to give a Sunday class a couple of years ago. And a lady asked a question afterwards. And she said, and it was about qualities of individuals. And she said, a priest that I know, honestly, humbly, has better qualities than just about anybody in this room, but he's not a vegetarian.
Yeah.
So, you know, the only thing I could think to answer, can you imagine how wonderful he would be if
that's a nice thing. But yeah, it's, first of all, your Guru Maharaj told me, right? Very nice thing once. He said the fault is not the whole person. So it becomes a little bit more complex. And it really is different. When I see a person in Indian culture and what they know and what the philosophy is, and they eat meat, it really says, wow, this person's, but if I see in the West and people grow up in that conditioning, et cetera, and you see so many saintly people, I believe that, although maybe some right-wing Hare Krishnas would hang me for that. But when I see really saintly people, right, Vṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, and in Italy you meet so many saintly people, right? And that's their fault. Yeah.
I love that response,
the other thing, Yudhisthira, is, and I told you, I tried to stop trying to reconcile everything because there's so many contradictory points and different realities that I believe are true, and I'm pretty good at it. That's what I do the Monday morning greetings for. I try to reconcile different points. Yeah. Okay, Yudhisthira, thank you. Thank you. Nice to see you. Okay. Lal, your better half is coming to the Govardhan Hilton soon.
Hey, Krishna Garage. Nice. Yeah, she sent me a picture today that she was over there having lunch.
She was doing her kirtan seva.
Wonderful. She's ecstatic. She's ecstatic.
And I'm putting her in the Italian ashram.
Okay. Good. Hopefully get a good meal.
Okay. Well, I lost my caste and still I'm hungry. Because you're the cook in the home, right?
Me? No.
Oh, that's right. She cooks all those wonderful things and you just take credit for it.
I just take the credit.
Okay.
Anybody
else say hello?
Hare Krishna, Mahat.
Great to see both of you.
Thanks. Great to see you. Thanks for the class.
Please accept our humble obeisances.
Yeah. Nice to see you. Great. I will. Kalachandri, I have one writing protege. I think they're pretty good. And they want to do a Substack column. And they wrote me a page and a half something. So I'd like to just send it to you just as an English professor, not to edit it, just to give maybe some, advice. Like you gave me good advice. You told me to cut out the adverbs, and it made my writing so much better. People don't understand that, right? It's just a simple advice, but I'm an adverb cutter now.
It's from Stephen King. Adverbs are not your friends, he says.
But it's such a simple principle, right? And kill your darlings. Who wrote that one?
Yeah, I think that always existed. It's an eternal truth.
But that's also a great one, because I'm so attached to all my wonderful, brilliant things that are not focused in my writing. And I'm ruthless now. I just throw them right out.
Right. But sure, I'd be happy to look at it.
Oh, that would be great. I think she has some talent, actually. Right. Even though she's South American, I think she's very educated. I mean, in the sense that she's writing it, I can't even something in Spanish. Oh, even though she's South American, you get a Spanish thing. No, it'll be in English. You're back home in Iowa?
Yes.
Were you out for a while traveling, or?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
We tried to spend some time with Kunti Devi.
Oh, that's nice. What a great soul she is, huh? Wonderful. Okay. Anybody else like to say hello?
Can we hear about the adverbs?
Haribo. Hi, nice to see you. Good. Okay. Anybody else say hello before I look at the list of people?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. This is Yavat Sundari.
Oh, Haribo. Okay. Hey, the big day is coming up soon, right?
Yes, it's very close, Maharaj.
Make sure your daughter sends me the link, okay?
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's
Anybody
here.
else?
She's here.
Hello, Maharaj. It's Denny.
Hey, Denny. Nice to see. What happened? You got hurt there?
No, I actually have a headband on, Maharaj. I'm about to head to New Vrindavan from another part of West Virginia on my way home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for coming to class.
Yes, thank you for having
me. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Sri Radhika here.
Sri Radhika, huh? Big day is coming. You must be nervous, huh?
Yes, I am, Maharaj. So many things to arrange. Just 1 week left, yeah.
Okay, good. It's good, though.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Shrupa, thank you for class.
Are you coming in?
I'm trying.
I hope you come.
Thank you, Maharaj. I hope so too.
Even if you come yourself, we'll take care of you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Because Hemalatharada is here up until March 4th. So you can be with her if you want to come. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta here.
Okay, keep on sending me those deity pictures, okay?
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Ishvari Sundari.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Okay. All right, good. Wow, there's a lot of more people here than usual. Okay, I'm going to look at everybody that's here and thank everybody for coming to class. Okay. Great.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you very much for your class. Haribo.
Oh, Haribo, nice to see you. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu.